Directorate, esteemed lecturers, staff, and fellow students. Good morning. I'm Allya Zattin from 44.1A.37 class from Pemuda. Today I'm gonna talk about the issue of smoking on the campus. This issue of smoking on the campus is a complex topic, one that often sparks debate between individuals' rights and collective interests. Our campus is home to thousands of different ideas and habits. Therefore, I am here today not to judge or take side, but to invite us all to view this issue from a neutral perspective, acknowledging that two sides of the truth need to be harmonized. Our main goal is to create an academic space that is comfortable, productive, and most importantly, respectful of all its members. Individual autonomy and the reality of academic stress. On one hand, we must acknowledge individual autonomy. For some members of the academic community, smoking is personal choice, a deeply ingrained habit, or perhaps even a coping mechanism used to deal with the pressure of academic load, research deadlines, or dense lecture schedule. We cannot ignore the reality that the campus environment, with its high intellectual demand, can cause significant stress. In this context, the practice of smoking can be seen as an individual's right to regulate themselves, as long as it is done without infringing on the right of others. We should view those who smoke not to as violators, but as part of a community whose needs must also accommodated, especially regarding stress management. Collective stress, how to collective responsibility and health impact. However, we must also honestly look at the second side, our collective responsibility for shared health. The campus is a communal public space. When someone smokes in a public area, the consequences are no longer personal. The inhaled smoke by non-smokers, known as passive smoking or secondhand smoke, carried an undeniable health impact ranging from mild irritation to the risks of serious illness. As an educational institution that uploads science, knowledge, and welfare, we have a moral and ethic obligation to provide a healthy environment. Clean air is not just a matter of comfort, it's fundamental right of every student, lecturer, and staff member. Therefore, campus police should not only regulate but actively protect the majority's right to pollution-free air. So, how do we harmonize these two conflicting rights? The individual right to smoke and the collective right to health? The answer lies in a smart police and sensible place allocation. We do not need to total ban, but we must be firm the and stabilizing borders. The solution is to implement clear, adequate, and spirited design smoking area away from the main campus traffic, including the cafeteria, library, and lectures area. These DSAs must be designed with effective ventilation system so that the smoke does not spread. Acknowledging The needs of smoking, protective the health of non-smokers, let us build a culture where smokers consciously use the designated areas and non-smokers respect their choice to smoke within those zones. Through open dialogue and balanced policies, we can ensure that our campus remains an inclusive, healthy, and conducive place to learn and working. So that's it. That was my perspectives about the smokers who smoke in the campus. So, thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Allya Zattin. So I'm here to teaching you guys about simple present tense. So uh, let's do let's learn about simple present tense. First of all, we need to know what is simple present tense. Simple present tense have two main functions of the simple present tense. There was there was as or es rule for the subject he, she, it, and correctly from positive, negative, and question tense. So what is the simple present tense? The simple present tense is the verb form used to express action or event that happened at the present time, but not necessarily at the moment of speaking. The present tense have two functions. One is habit or routine, and two, general facts and absolute truths. Habits and routine, expressive, repeated, or routine action. For the routine type, like a daily hobby stable feel and or stable feeling, there have an explanation, like something you do every day or week, right? And hobbies recurring activity, stable feeling or stat that are fixed. For the example, at the daily, it's like I drink coffee every morning. For the hobbies, like he plays football on Saturdays. And stable feeling is like to feel like they love classical music. Fact and general truth. The fact and general truth have the type and explanation and example sentence, like scientific, certain law or science, water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Basic structure of positive sentence. There was subject, verb one, and complements. For the subject A, we have a two subject, like with the subject A and subject B. For the subject A is I, you, they, we, and subject B for he, she, it, we use as or es after the word. For the example at subject A is like we read books, and for the subject B, she reads books. So, if the subject he, she, it, we use as after read. And if the subject A, I, you, they, we don't use as after read. So, subject group B, he, she, it, and must always attach with as or es to be verb one. Like, if the subject is I, we don't use as at the end. There was there was the example to make it a proving that so in the group in the subject group B there was he, she, it. So if the subject is must be have he, she, or it, use as after the word. Like if the subject is not if the subject is from the group A, like I, you, they, we don't use as after learn. So because this he, the subject is he, we use as after learn. And this for this subject, the students, because the students is just one person, so we don't use as after study. And because and this the student, because third person singular subject, we use as or es after we use as or es after studies. The as or es rules verb ending in y. So if there was vowel like a I U E O, a I U E O, add as after the word. If there was consonant, we don't use as. We just we don't use as and change y to I, then add es. For a negative sentence structure, the state, a habit, or fact is not true or does not happen. We use as plus do or does not plus verb 1. For the subject I, you, they, we, from the do not to be done. For the example, like I don't like spinach. And for he, she, it, subject he, she, it, does not to doesn't, to, to spell doesn't. For the example sentence, like she doesn't like spinach. Because the part of adding es is already carried by the auxiliary verb to which change to does. The incorrect one is like she doesn't like spicy food. Uh, the correct one is she doesn't like spicy food. What's the difference? Different is uh we don't use as after likes because verb one return it because verb one return to its best form. Why is verb one not using es or as after doesn't? The auxiliary verb do or does are always placed at the beginning of the sentence. For the subject I, you, they, we, auxiliary verb is do plus verb 1. And the example, do you speak German? And for the subject he, she, it, the auxiliary verb do will spell like we spelling is does verb 1. And for the example, does she work on Sundays? Short answer must use the same auxiliary verb, do or does, used in the question. Do they live here? The short answer, yes, they do. The short answer, negative. No, they don't. Like this. So we use if the question beginning with do, we beginning with do, the answer needs to be do. And the positive answer, we need to be at do. And for the negative ans- and for the negative answer, we use the done. And if there was does in the beginning, we answering with does. And for the short and for the negative answer, we use doesn't. You does plus and anti. VH word question used to give specific information: who, what, when, where, why, how. And for the pattern, like work plus do or does plus as plus verb one.
For the example, where used with do and subject if the subject live you and verb one is live. Simple present of the verb to be. To be is an exception. It doesn't express action but rather status or identity. If the to be, this is a to be form, subject pairing, example, and state status. I am to be uh, plus I. Example, like I am a teacher. The status is the state status is identity. He, she is singular. Used used to be is, like the car is blue. Why the car? Because car is it. And for the you they, we use are. If the subject more than one, we use are. We are friends. Negative and question. To be to be does not need do or does. Simply add not after to be. So to be, if there was to be, we don't use do or does, but we use simply not. This is for the example. And the note, the verb to be, I'm is are is strong verb. It can form negative and interrogative sentence on its own without help. This is lets us to combine exercise habits and facts. The Earth. This is the combined answer. The Earth revolves around the sun. Subject the Earth is so used as. This is as. My sister doesn't watch horror movies. Subject my sister. She. So use doesn't. Verb 1 returns to best form. Do your parents speak English? Subject your parents. They. So used to. We are we are very tired after work. Subject we pairs with are. For the summary function, remember routine and spec. As or esk if the subject is she, he, she, it, the as or es must attach to verb 1 in positive sentence. Do or does do or does only appears in negative sentence or question. So that's it for my presentation of the simple present tense. Thank you for watching.